Imagine for a moment a world where the most trusted figures in medicine, the very doctors we turn to for healing, prescribed a remedy that was, by all modern understanding, a poison. A world where the sick, desperate for relief, were told to inhale toxic smoke, convinced it was their only hope. This isn't a dystopian fantasy, it is a chilling chapter from our own history, a testament to how profoundly our understanding of health and healing can shift. For nearly 2 centuries, a peculiar and profoundly disturbing treatment for asthma dominated medical practice: the asthma cigarette. These weren't just tobacco products, they were meticulously crafted instruments of supposed healing, laden with substances that today would be considered highly dangerous, even hallucinogenic. Picture this: a doctor with a reassuring smile, handing a patient a cigarette and instructing them to deeply inhale its acrid medicinal smoke. The very idea sends shivers down the spine, yet it was a widely accepted, even celebrated medical intervention. Our story begins far from the bustling clinics of the West, in the vibrant landscapes of India in the early 19th century. It was 1802 when a British doctor, observing local customs, noticed something remarkable. People suffering from what appeared to be asthma were finding relief by inhaling the smoke of the Datura ferox plant. This observation, rooted in ancient folk remedies, sparked an idea that would ripple across continents and through generations. If a local plant could offer respite, perhaps it held a secret worth exploring. What started as a localized practice soon found its way into Western medicine, where it was swiftly industrialized and embraced. The theory was deceptively simple. The smoke, infused with potent botanicals, would act as an antispasmodic, relaxing the constricted bronchial muscles that plagued asthma sufferers. This seemed logical enough in an era before our current understanding of respiratory physiology. The plants chosen were not benign herbs, they were powerful, often deadly, nightshades. Datura stramonium, known for its potent hallucinogenic properties, Atropa belladonna, or deadly nightshade, and Hyoscyamus niger, or henbane. In some formulations, even arsenic, a notorious poison, found its way into these so-called remedies. Patients, young and old, were instructed to deeply inhale this toxic smoke, drawing it into their lungs, believing it would open their airways, and for a fleeting moment, it often did. The powerful alkaloids within these plants would indeed relax smooth muscles, offering a temporary, albeit perilous, sense of relief. But this came at a terrible cost. The immediate side effects were alarming: a parched mouth, pupils dilated wide, a racing heart, and a growing sense of disorientation. Many patients experienced what became known as stramonium delirium, a descent into vivid, often terrifying hallucinations, a waking nightmare brought on by their prescribed medicine. This wasn't a fringe treatment, it became mainstream, endorsed by leading medical minds and readily available in pharmacies. The sheer trust placed in these remedies, despite their harrowing effects, speaks volumes about the desperation of the era and the limitations of medical knowledge at the time. As we delve deeper into this frightening history, we begin to question not just the past, but the very nature of our present understanding. What horrors, disguised as cures, might future generations uncover in our own time? It's a question that echoes through the annals of medical history, a stark reminder of humanity's persistent struggle against suffering, often with tools that, in hindsight, appear more terrifying than the affliction itself. For generations, this wasn't just an adult predicament. The chilling reality of asthma cigarettes extended its reach to the most vulnerable among us: children. Imagine a child restless with the wheezing cough of asthma tucked into bed. The doctor's orders were precise, almost ritualistic. Burn niter paper in their sealed bedroom. This wasn't ordinary paper, it was a potent concoction, soaked in potassium nitrate and a concentrated extract of stramonium, the very plant known for its toxic and profoundly hallucinogenic properties. As the paper smoldered, a thick, acrid smoke would slowly fill the confined space. While the child slept, their tiny lungs were forced to inhale this toxic cloud minute after minute, hour after hour, throughout the night. The intention, of course, was relief, a desperate hope that the fumes would relax their constricted airways. But what was the true cost? The very air they breathed, intended to heal, was systematically poisoning them. The side effects, already severe in adults, were magnified in their small developing bodies. Their agitated sleep, unnervingly dilated pupils, and rapid heartbeats were silent, terrifying witnesses to the potent toxins at work within them. This was a chemical assault masked as medicine. Indeed, even as these remedies were prescribed, leading medical experts of the 19th century couldn't ignore their profound and often terrifying impact. They meticulously documented the cure as inducing a litany of harrowing symptoms: dizziness, a profound loss of power in the limbs, a deadly faintness, and an inability to speak or even think. This wasn't just discomfort, it was a temporary self-induced paralysis of both body and mind, a terrifying descent into a state where one's own consciousness seemed to betray them. Yet the practice continued, woven into the fabric of medical care for decades. Why, you might wonder, would such a dangerous and debilitating treatment persist for so long? The answer lies in the profound limitations of medical science at the time. In an era devoid of truly effective bronchodilators, antihistamines, or corticosteroids, these asthma cigarettes offered something else: hope. A fragile, often illusory hope, but hope nonetheless. The terrifying sensation of suffocating, the relentless struggle for breath, pushed patients and their doctors to embrace any potential respite, no matter how dubious its origin or how brutal its price. The alternative, for many, was simply no relief at all. For nearly 2 centuries, from the early 1800s well into the mid-20th century, these toxic smokes remained a staple in the fight against asthma. They were sold openly, endorsed by respected physicians, and consumed by millions, a testament to human desperation. It's a stark illustration of how deeply ingrained certain beliefs and practices can become, even in the face of mounting evidence of their harm. The fear of the unknown, the desperate need for any solution, held medicine captive in this toxic embrace. The world was changing, however. Scientific understanding was slowly, painstakingly advancing, pushing the boundaries of what was possible. But the shadow of the asthma cigarette, with its insidious promise of relief and its stark delivery of delirium, lingered stubbornly. It wasn't until a monumental shift in medical technology and understanding would finally offer a truly safer, more targeted path, a path that would begin to relegate these terrifying remedies to the forgotten shelves of history. But that transformation was still decades away, leaving generations to grapple with this insidious cure, a chilling chapter in our collective medical journey. Imagine, if you will, the sheer terror of it, not just the asthma attack itself, but the cure that followed. Patients, desperate for air, were instructed to deeply inhale the acrid, toxic smoke from these prescribed cigarettes. The immediate relief, often fleeting, came at a terrible cost. Their mouths would go bone dry, pupils dilated wide, hearts pounding a frantic rhythm against their ribs. Then the hallucinations would begin, a terrifying descent into what was known as stramonium delirium. Visions, distortions, a profound sense of unreality that blurred the lines between waking and nightmare, leaving them disoriented and utterly vulnerable. This wasn't just a side effect. For many, it was the experience, a frightening journey through a chemically induced alternate reality. But the horror didn't stop with adults. For the most vulnerable among us, children struggling to breathe, doctors prescribed an even more insidious treatment: niter paper. This wasn't a cigarette, but paper soaked in potassium nitrate and stramonium extract. Parents were instructed to burn this paper in sealed rooms, often while their children slept. Imagine the scene: a child, already weakened by asthma, unknowingly inhaling toxic smoke throughout the night, forced to breathe air laden with substances designed to induce delirium. It was a sinister lullaby, a desperate act rooted in a terrifying ignorance where the very act of seeking relief became an act of slow poisoning. Even the leading medical experts of the 19th century, those who advocated for these treatments, couldn't ignore the profound and disturbing effects. They described the cure as inducing symptoms such as dizziness, a debilitating loss of power in the limbs, a deadly faintness, and a complete inability to speak or even think clearly. These weren't minor inconveniences, they were descriptions of profound systemic poisoning, recognized even then as deeply unsettling. Yet, without truly effective alternatives, the terrifying gamble continued. The immediate, albeit hallucinogenic, relief from the suffocating grip of asthma was often deemed worth the horrifying price. For generations, humanity was trapped in this medical paradox. The fear of suffocation was so immense, the lack of understanding so profound, that these toxic remedies remained a cornerstone of asthma treatment. They were sold openly, advertised, and widely accepted, a stark testament to the limitations of medical science and the desperate human need for relief. It wasn't until the mid-20th century, despite decades of medical advancement in other fields, that the shadow of the asthma cigarette truly began to recede. The world was crying out for a safer, more targeted solution, a way to breathe freely without sacrificing sanity or health. The seeds of change were slowly germinating, promising a future where the air could be clear and the medicine truly healing. The world was crying out for a safer, more targeted solution, a way to breathe freely without sacrificing sanity or health. The seeds of change were slowly germinating, promising a future where the air could be clear and the medicine truly healing. Then, a beacon of true hope emerged from the shadows of desperation. In 1956, a revolutionary device was introduced that would forever change the landscape of asthma treatment, the metered dose inhaler, or MDI. No longer would patients be forced to inhale toxic smoke or endure hallucinogenic delirium. The MDI delivered a precise, measured dose of medication directly to the lungs, targeting the constricted airways with unprecedented efficiency and safety. It was a marvel of modern medicine, compact, effective, and free from the terrifying side effects that had plagued generations. Imagine the profound relief, the sheer wonder of those who, for the first time, could find genuine, clean relief from the suffocating grip of asthma without poisoning their bodies or minds. The era of toxic smoke as medicine was finally decisively drawing to a close. Yet, even with this monumental breakthrough, the past clung on with surprising tenacity. Old habits, deeply ingrained practices, and a lack of immediate global access meant that asthma cigarettes didn't vanish overnight. In some countries, due to a combination of tradition, regulation lags, and perhaps a lingering belief in their efficacy, these toxic remedies remained available, a chilling echo from a darker time, until as late as the 1980s. It's a stark reminder that even when superior solutions emerge, the wheels of change can turn agonizingly slowly, leaving some still vulnerable to the mistakes of the past. This harrowing chapter in medical history, the story of asthma cigarettes, isn't just a fascinating relic from a bygone era. It's a profound cautionary tale. It forces us to confront a chilling question. What accepted medical treatments of our time, born of our best intentions and current understanding, will future generations look back on with horror and disbelief? What are our asthma cigarettes? The practices we now deem acceptable, even necessary, that may one day be seen as primitive, dangerous, or even barbaric. This story is a powerful reminder of the relentless pursuit of knowledge, the humility required in scientific progress, and the ethical imperative to constantly question, innovate, and strive for better. It underscores the immense responsibility we carry as guardians of health, to always seek truth, to prioritize safety above all else, and to never settle for good enough when truly healing is within reach. It's a call to foster a spirit of critical inquiry, to challenge dogma, and to remember that what we hold as absolute truth today may simply be the next stepping stone in humanity's ongoing journey toward a deeper, more compassionate understanding of the human body and mind. Let us learn from the past, not to judge, but to inspire a future where every treatment truly heals and where the air we breathe and the medicine we take are always a source of life, not fear.